Our directions here just tell us to simplify. So we're going to be simplifying each one of these fractions. Now we want to keep in mind that the fraction bar tells us it's a fraction, but the fraction bar also behaves as a division as well. So when we're trying to work with the sign for these kinds of problems where it's not a nice tidy division, right? 20 is not going to go evenly into 15. So we know that our answer has to be a fraction. We want to be thinking about the sign of the fraction first. We know that we have a positive 15 and a negative 20. And so we can use the rules for division, that a positive divided by a negative will always give me a negative. Okay? And now what we can do is we can be thinking about, well, we're looking for common factors, right? That's how we simplify fractions, is we cancel out common factors. Common factor of 15 and 20 is going to be 5. So if I rewrite 15 as 5 times 3, and I rewrite the 20 as 5 times 4, so I'm letting that common factor show, notice that 5 over 5 is just going to equal 1. And 1 times 3/4 we know is 3/4, but we want to be sure that we don't forget about that negative sign. So our answer is going to be negative 3 over 4. So when we write a final answer that's a fraction, if it's a negative, we want the negative sign out front of the fraction. Here we started off with the negative in the denominator, but we want to be sure in our final answer that that negative moves out in front, because a positive divided by a negative is going to give me the negative. Now the second problem, notice that we have a negative over a negative, and we know by the rules of division, negative divided by a negative is always going to give me a positive. And then as we look to 16 and 24, thinking about the greatest common factor, remember we always want the biggest common factor, because 2 goes into both of these, 4 goes into both of these, but the greatest common factor is 8. And so we're going to rewrite each of these as 8 times something. Well, 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. And there's that 8 over 8 to equal 1. And 1 times 2/3 is just 2/3. And remember that we said at the beginning that a negative over a negative is always going to give us a positive. And so we don't have to necessarily write that plus sign. We can just go ahead and leave our answer as 2/3.